recognize them tonight. And the first person is Councilman Robert Ryan. Presented to Robert Ryan, recognition and sincere appreciation for 4 years of distinguished service as councilman from the town of Rosendale, December 2015.
Thank you very much.
And I personally would like to thank Bob for all his hard work and for always having my back. The second person is a longtime employee of the town of Rosendale, someone who was there for me right from day one, part of my team, there to help me to learn how to be a supervisor. And this is presented to Carol Aldridge. Would you come up, Carol? In recognition and sincere appreciation for over 16 years of distinguished service and dedication to the town of Rosendale as clerk and deputy town clerk from the town of Rosendale, December 2015. Very much. Yeah. Anyone who came here for the public hearing, just a reminder that we have a sign-up sheet, so if you could come up to the front and pass it around so that this can do this orderly fashion when the time comes. Does anyone have a petition, public comment, or community event they would like to bring to our attention that is not on the agenda or not part of the public hearing? Really listen, please.
I wasn't here last week, but someone already said it. I'd like to thank the town board of Rosendale for having a successful pickle festival.
Deputy Hassett.
Yeah. I just want to publicly thank Councilman Ryan for his service. He received a plaque here tonight, Bob, but I sat on board and personally saw the dedication that you have to this town. And just publicly say thanks, bud. Good job.
Thank you.
We're really not doing that right now. It's about if you have a community event or something, if you have to comment because you want to discuss about the project itself, is it, you know, we don't have that on the agenda tonight. I suggest you give me a call. I mean, what is it that you want to talk about? I mean, we're not going to get into that. We've got so much on the agenda tonight.
I would just like some more information put out as soon as possible so people can budget for what they're gonna have to pay, and a lot of them don't know it.
I think you've already been informed that we're working on that, and Terry has to work with the contractors before a letter can go out. We have to get a price from them, and yes, that's in discussion right now. So we don't have any information to pass on to you this time. I know that he talked to you guys recently, so we're working on it.
Thank you.
All right, I do have a couple of little typos in the minutes. All right, on the November 10th, where it says Supervisor Walsh made a motion, 12:45, the word, I think, is supposed to be for, O-R, so vote. And Supervisor Walsh made a motion to agree to the settlement agreement with T-Mobile pursuant to Mary Lou Christiana. I want to say recommendations for the contract, for the agreement? Yeah. And November 18, on the third page, set the public hearing. That's Tilson School 488 LLC. And if no one else any changes, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second.
Roll vote, Councilman Dean,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nestor,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Okay. Financial report, the general fund, $297,631.86. In highway, $317,019.29. In capital highway, $32,326.53. In capital, $70,224.15. In rec sub, $6,420.62. In capital rec, $792.06. In light, $4,601.05. Councilman Wisloski is not here, so we'll put it on for next month in the report. Councilman Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. Starting out with the town, Rosendale Highway Department. We had total monies taken in of $193.75. I'm sure that everyone's aware that this is the time of the year that Bob and the guys are getting ready to do snow cleanup and salting and that, and thank God we've had some really good weather up to now, so for the taxpayers, it's gonna hopefully be some type of a savings somewhere in the area where we won't have to use the salt and sand to sand the roads and man-hours of overtime to do it. So I'm sure the employees don't like when I say that. Other than that, everything is pretty much status quo. Next thing, liaison of the Water and Sewer Committee. Water and Sewer, once again, I'd like to thank Terry Johnson. It's been a pleasure to be his liaison, and without Terry, I don't know how he keeps that thing going, because when I first got elected, he gave me a tour, and it's like chitty chitty bang bang or something, I don't know. And Terry's done a great job, and I really do appreciate all his hard work, and I thank you very much. With that being said, water total is, intake was $6,742.78. Sewer total was $10,967.72, and grand total of $17,710.50. And to touch on Ann Coleman's question, in our meetings, we've been discussing this. There's nothing really to report because there's possible other grants we can put in for. Nothing's concrete. So it's no sense talking about anything that's not concrete, because all I'll do is stimulate a war rumor. But I can assure you that this board and Terry Johnson are doing the best that they can with the infrastructure in the age of our water and sewer.
I think Dan's question was about the hookups for the individuals.
Correct.
And so we talked to the contractor about coming up with a price that we can.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was questioning about the billing, how much of an increase it's gonna
Oh,
be.
I see.
So that's what I was addressing when she asked that question, that we don't know what the increase is gonna be, because there's so many things that we may be allowed to get additional grants in that. And like I said, everybody's working very hard to do the best they can for the taxpayers and the town of Rosendale residents who have the water and sewer system. The next thing on the agenda is, I'm not assessors, I swear, Councilman Newton, is the ZBA, and all information is lodged with the town. There's really nothing new. There's a total of 785 parcels that will need to be inspected. Inspected the total, and that's the assessors once again. Councilman Hughes?
Thank you very much.
ZBA. The other thing is the food pantry. No news is good news. I haven't heard really anything. I think they're doing pretty well. And I want to thank all the residents that donate perishable goods and stuff. And also, a few weeks ago, the Boy Scouts were going door to door, and I understand he had a good intake of food that way. So I want to thank everybody for being involved and participating and helping them out. And I think that pretty much sums it up.
Okay, welcome everybody. From the assessor's office, ongoing cyclical reassessment of properties is ongoing for the 2016 rolls. There are 785 parcels that will need to be inspected, and 266 of them have been done so since August 1st. Exemption applications have been mailed out and are due by March 1st, 2016. And the assessor, Michael Dunham, reports here, I completed the preliminary review of open building permits. I will follow up in March to review any properties that still have work in process. The assessor's office took in no revenue in the month of November. Also, the office reports that the state, New York State, will be mailing out property tax freeze revenue checks. This credit checks this week to property owners throughout the state. Checks will be based on the increase in taxes for the various taxing jurisdictions in the town. The checks will be based on the 2015 general taxes and school taxes. And the amount of any credit that you might receive will be based on any cumulative effect of tax levying that by bodies such as town, county, highway, etc. Even if one taxing authority is over the cap, there will be a check issued for property owners based on the tax levying bodies that stayed under the cap. He's going to be issuing more about that program. Look for a check in the mail. The planning department has not, the planning board has not met since our last meeting here. They're meeting here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. The planning board took in $522.19 in November. The building department, it's been the busiest year that our building inspector, Tom Fiore, can remember, with I think over 190 permits, building permits issued this year. And revenues for the month of November, $4,660. The Economic Development Commission did not meet this month because of, didn't meet a quorum because of illness, and are planning to reschedule a meeting. Once we come up with the date for that meeting, we'll get it posted with the town clerk.
We're still looking for more members.
Right, still looking for more members for the Economic Development Commission. If anybody's interested, apply through the town clerk or give a call. And there are also applications available online. The new check register review that I do, the November info just came in, so I'll get to that next week.
Okay. There'll be time for the order.
Okay, we'll start with the rec commission. We had a rescheduled town board meeting the same night as the rec commission, so I couldn't attend the meeting, but the minutes of that meeting are on file with the clerk. The rec commission took in $2,391 this month. The youth commission They had a very successful Thanksgiving weekend hike with the kids on Sunday, and they're planning more hiking programs with Rosendale Youth, which is really wonderful. They also have a plan to do a youth review, which is a collection of writings from writing submissions, creative writing, poetry, nonfiction from all ages of children, high school, I think even college, and they're going to self-publish in a book. So they're going to be taking submissions for that from February 1st through June. So if you have any kids or know of any kids and budding young novelists, short novels, encourage them to submit. It's a great opportunity for kids to be published for the first time. The Youth Commission is interested in changing their meeting time to 7 from 7:30. So I told them that would have to be a posting or a change of time in the paper.
I think we can approve it tonight if they've decided and then ask Mandy to,
They have decided.
okay, so
So
you
why
want to
don't,
make a motion?
sure, I'll make a motion for the Youth Commission meeting time to be changed from 7:30 to 7 p.m. the first Monday of the month.
I'll second that.
And the youth, oh, that's right, roll call.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes.
The youth, it was entirely the clothing shed, by the way, this month, took in $292.16. The dog control, we're interviewing now for a deputy dog control officer. Dog control took in $75.50. And police took in $15. And the clerk's office took in $7,693.75.
All right. So we have two personnel changes to approve. We have a letter from Tom Fiore. He'd like to cut back his hours next year to 40 to 30. So I'd like to make a motion to approve a change in hours for Thomas Fiore to 30 hours per week, effective 1/1/16.
I'll second that.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yeah. And I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Carl Hornbeck as building manager effective 12/31/15. Congratulate him on his new position as town justice.
I'll second
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes, and congratulations, Carl.
Councilman Ryan,
that. Yes, and thank you for your services.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Is Stephen Harrison here? Could you please stand up? Stephen Harris has an application to do filming on the corner of Peter Avenue by the bridge. He's put an application in for a site plan approval. This is for December 12th, which is in the morning this Saturday, correct? And you've already spoken to the police department. They have no problem with this. So I would like to make a motion to approve. Are you planning on closing the road at all during that time?
Yes, in conversations with the town clerk's office, we understood that the Rosendale festival going on, and so we're getting the whole thing done before business hours, starting at 7, or it'll be done by 9 or 9:30.
And how do you plan on managing traffic?
We have a town police officer,
Okay.
and he's approved the use of our personnel with red vests and walkie-talkies to work with them.
Okay. So based on that information, I would make a motion to approve the site plan.
I'll second it.
Guess we have it again?
Welcome to our town.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger?
Yes.
Councilman Ryan?
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh?
And Mandy, I'm gonna turn it over to you to open the public hearing for the Towson School zoning change. Once Mandy opens the public hearing, I'd like to give the applicant a chance to briefly describe the project. And then Mandy or Michelle will call out the people that are on the list one by one. I will give you 3 minutes. We will have a timer on. Up to the podium and speak. Please say your name and where you live. And then you have 3 minutes to tell us what you think. Ready?
Please take notice that the town board of the town of Rosendale will be holding a public hearing on a proposed zoning for a 48-unit apartment project by adaptive reuse of the former Tilson Elementary School facility by 14448 LLC by the order of the town board of the town of Rosendale.
Mike, who's going to speak? You?
Good evening to everybody tonight. I'm
Can you
here
use the mic, Mike, 'cause I hear a lot of people here.
to figure out
Mike,
what
Mike.
Okay, let's try again. How's that sound? All right. I'm Michael Moriello. I'm the attorney for the applicants Fortune 488 LLC, which is also George and Stacy Fakiris, who are here tonight. Also, the applicant's consulting architect is here, Rick Alfondra. Dennis Larios is the consulting engineer for the project. He can't be here. He had an operation, and he's recovering nicely. As was mentioned in the notice, this is a project for 48-unit adaptive reuse of the former Tilson School. There would be 28 one-bedroom apartments and 20 two-bedroom apartments. The application, the genesis of the application started in July of this year. What is being requested is really twofold process under the Town of Rosendale zoning law. One is under their local law from 2015 would be a change of zone to community development, employment enterprise overlay zone. That is ostensibly what the public hearing is about tonight. Then we would also require, if that is approved by this board, that we would also require a site plan approval. The town board has elected to be the lead agency for the project under SEEKR. SEEKR is the State Environmental Quality Review Act. So this board has maintained jurisdiction over that. They would be conducting the environmental review. We've also initiated a coordinated review for SEEKR purposes, meaning that the planning board will also opine on that, and all of the involved and interested agencies. As you can probably surmise, there's other agencies that are involved in the permitting of this process, including the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the Ulster County Health Department, the Ulster County Planning Board will be reviewing it. So there's a fairly lengthy review for the project. The other consultants for the project, we have a historical cultural consultant, that's Joe Diamond, PhD from right over here in Marbletown, and we also have our our traffic consultant, which we think will be Creighton Manning Engineering, and finally our endangered species or really ecological consultant is Steve George from North Country. The project is currently located in the R1, R2 zone. That's the need, that's the reason for the zoning change. And it is, I just want to emphasize too, that this project, from the beginning, we've been before the town board, we've been over to the planning board, there's been several meetings. The Seeker process has been initiated with this board, taking the lead agency status in as of October. And just a couple things about the project, just in general. This is a market rate project. There is no state funding, there's no federal funding, and there's no pilot. This will be market rate, rented for market rate. I know that there will be concerns expressed about traffic. That's the reason that we're going to get a traffic consultant. We are aware of the wall and that we have to do things about that. And so those things will be looked at during the pendency of the environmental review. We're also looking into the water use on the property. I have talked to Dennis Larios at length about this, who has some of the historical records. Dennis says that the school, when it was in operation, used far more water than we will be using. That being said, that was in the 1980s. Now there's more houses, so that will have to be looked at too. And that is all part of the environmental review, which we will have to go through. It's your night to speak tonight, so I don't want to take a lot of time, but I do want to introduce Rick just to give you some of the nuts and bolts of the project. And then we will not be answering any questions tonight. I'd like to hear what all of the issues are and what the concerns are, and then we'll get back to the board and follow through from there. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'll give you the nuts and bolts as they are now. And as you can imagine, we're at a very preliminary stage, but essentially what we're doing is substantially reconstructing and adding upwards on the existing footprint of the current school building, or former school building. As Mike mentioned, the number of units, the footprint of the building itself is 22,822 square feet. Just 45,644 total gross square feet. There will be no disturbance outside of the existing already cleared area on the site. Dennis has done some preliminary studies with respect to the septic system, and there are areas shown on the preliminary site plan which show the proposed septic areas as well as expansion areas. The parking lot will be expanded. I regret I don't remember the number of parking spaces added, but if you look at the site plan, you'll see a lighter gray, which is the existing paved area, and a darker gray, which
But
is...
we can't see that.
I know, but you can take a look at any time. I'll pick it up.
There's one over there too.
Yes, it's the
That's
same.
right. This darker, sorry. This darker area is the proposed parking expansion, stormwater infiltration area, and then the septics will be in the existing field. The increase in impervious area is actually not that substantial because there's already an existing basketball court there that will be removed. And Mike mentioned the other issues that we've been studying. We also did meet with Ulster County Planning some time ago as well to begin to flesh out the planning issues. The soils out at that location, as many of you know, are very good with respect to infiltration of both stormwater as well as sewage effluent. And the building, we haven't gotten into energy systems, but obviously the building has to meet the current energy code at least, and that energy code is becoming more restrictive, so I'm sure it'll be a energy efficient building, if not better. There are currently shown on our plans 4 fully accessible units, but the first floor is entirely at grade, or almost the entire first floor is at grade, so there are many more adaptable units. There are a variety of unit sizes. They're all quite large for this area. They're way beyond what one might define New York State Division of Housing, such as 840 square feet for a two-bedroom, or even 1,150 square feet for a two-bedroom, depending on the nature of the unit. And one bedrooms, 524 square feet. And so, and there are a variety of orientations and layouts. It'll be fairly nice interiors as a result. And I think that's about it for now. Thank you.
I want to get this.
We're ready for the first speaker, right?
Yes. Maybe you could answer the first one. James Beyonce.
Right.
Sorry. Mr. Franchel has 3 minutes.
I just want to show everybody where I live. Well, my biggest concern, of course, like most of you here, is the water. I hear, they're gonna drill 3 wells, but how is that gonna affect our wells? And the sewage, is the sewage gonna, I'm sure they're gonna do studies, but we need to see, whoever's doing these studies, we need to see how it's gonna impact us. The parking, you're gonna expand the parking, which, maybe that's gonna be fine, but how much traffic's gonna be on this little side street that's there now? And are we gonna be able to do something about all the traffic on the road? Not just put a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on it. But like I said, my biggest concern is the water. And like I said, they say they're gonna drill 3 new wells, it's just what I heard, I'm not really sure. And I'd like to know how this is gonna affect us before, are they gonna let us know everything before they start? What's going on, I don't really know. Because it says they can't answer any questions right now. But are we gonna have another meeting when they get all the results to go over them with us?
I don't want to interrupt your time, but
Time's up.
typically, public hearings to hear what you have to say, okay? We have a number of meetings that will be addressing all the things you're talking about, and I just recommend that anybody that has an interest should attend those meetings. As Mr. Mariello has said, that we've already had several meetings, and some of those questions you have may have already been addressed or begun to be addressed. So I would say stay diligent and continue to attend meetings that are about this subject.
And you can check the agenda on the town website, just to see if it's on the agenda, and, also, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mandy, town clerk was saying you could call her too for updates.
And
And
information.
anybody can contact me as a town board member if you want to check in with where the process is.
All right.
You still have 45 seconds left. Well, we have to make a decision at the end of this meeting, typically.
Next is Barbara Lazard.
Hi, I'm Barbara Lazard. I live in the White House. It's in that little loop. And what I want to talk about is 28 one-bedroom apartments, 20 two-bedroom apartments. If that's 2 people in a one-bedroom and 4 people in a two-bedroom, that's 136 additional people in a very concentrated area. 136 people coming and going down a tiny one narrow street and a terrible curb. There's no sidewalks on Gristmill Road. If you're talking about foot traffic, these people want to get out, walk their dogs, take their kids for walks. Gristmill Road is not capable of handling an additional amount of foot traffic, let alone for them to go down to the corner to get onto Route 32. It would be a very, very congested area. Plus, if you look at their diagram, The back of the building is almost touching the next property. It's a drop-off. It's a wet zone. From behind the building around, that's all wetland. You increase the amount of sewage, you increase the amount of water, you're going to increase the amount of water that's in those wetlands. If you go to Tall Oaks or walk through the woods over there, it's a wetland, okay? So that's a terrible thing. Plus the fact that I'm going to see a Walmart parking lot behind my house that I never had to look at before, okay, with lighting, with people, and we're cutting down on the recreational area that these families will have to use. Because there's no more ball field, which was once promised. There's not going to be bleachers that was put in the paper for the community use. There'll be no community use on this property. It is private. Okay, and then the last thing I just want to bring is that I shook the hand of the person who was going to build this at a far less number of apartments going in there. I suggest no more than 30 apartments on this site. Thank you.
Edward Hartwell.
Good evening, everybody. Ed Hartwell. I've been a resident in Tilson since 2000. Barbara did a stellar job there. She had a lot of my ideas. I'm at 36 Grist Mill. I'm right in the ground zero area, if you want to call it that, for this development. My concern, again, parallels hers with the sewage and what's going to happen with that and the water, but also the number of units. How does that really fit the mold in our community? When you look around Tilson, and I came to this area, and I grew up in Highland, which is also a nice community. When I moved there, my father actually moved me there when I was young in 1980. And that grew, and there was transparency with that, and sometimes there wasn't. But I understand that even when I moved there in 2000, that school was vacant at the time, and I always wondered what would happen with it. And I had softball games there, and you know, I always understood that may have to come to an end and be developed, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and voice our opinion with some transparency about what's going on there. But my concern is, I would rather, like Barbara said, see something a little less than 48 units is a lot. I was blown away when I got this letter. Blown away. I was like, man, I got to come here and say something. What's wrong with some duplexes? Maybe a nice cul-de-sac in there. Maybe that doesn't make the people that want to do this enough money. Maybe that's what it's about. I'm not sure. It's a beautiful 8.4 acre lot parcel, and it's, you know, I guess I made my point. Hopefully we can see some development there, but perhaps not as many units. And again, what Barbara said, all the same concerns I have also. Thank you.
Tim Bradley.
My name is Tim Bradley. I live at 54 Grist Mill Road. In essence, I'm sandwiched between Barbara Lassard and the school. I'm right there, next to the school. First house next to the school, little yellow house. This really doesn't do justice. I'm assuming this is the old auditorium down here? This really doesn't, I don't know how you're gonna make this look like this. This is, in essence, you have a sidewalk and a driveway and a fence around my property. So this really doesn't look like that at all. I don't know how you're gonna make that look like that without bulldozing the driveway and leaving it. But anyway, my concerns are, obviously the water is a huge concern. What will happen when my well goes dry? What about my way of life? I'm retired. This, in essence, is going to bring in a huge amount of people. Traffic, lighting is an issue. My bedroom window is 20 yards from this. All night long, am I going to have lights coming into my house? all night long? Am I gonna have people coming and going, in essence, driving right past my house, around Barbara's house? These are issues that, you know, aside from the water and the air quality of the exhaust and cars running, people warming them up in the morning to go to work, and noise, and the myriad of things, the way this complex thing is going to change our ways of life, the people in the immediate area of this development. It's hard for me to explain. I'm not very good at public speaking, but I had to come over here because, again, my way of life is going to be destroyed. Simple as that. I'm a private person. I like my privacy. I love my neighbors. We'll have a beautiful, quiet residential neighborhood here. This is just going to take the whole thing away. It's going to be a mess.
Ann? Andrew Wilner? Rita Sorge?
Hi, my name is Rita Sorge. I live in Tilson. I'm on the other side of the Great 32 River. I'm just off Tilson Road on Mesmer. One of my concerns is the water. When Tilson Estates was built, it was overbuilt, and now it has to be on town water. And it's just something to know about the nature of the area. I think this could be a good project. I'm concerned with the scale and the impact on the community. I think it's a little big. I am really concerned for both the people that live right next to it and for my own quality of life with issues of the traffic. That 32 intersection is really dangerous. From my house, I can hear the accidents, and they're frequent. I know that's a state road, so we don't have a lot of control over that. I foresee that at some point, whether you build this or not, we're going to need a traffic light there. But this will make it that much faster. I'm also concerned about lighting issues. Right now, I can take a walk down that road in the middle of the night with my children and see the stars. And we do that frequently. And I fear that this will really change that. I know good shielding can be done, but still, it's still going to change it. In light of the changes to the community, I want to suggest that if this goes through, there be some give back to the community. And I'm not talking about a pilot or any of that stuff, but I would love to see it on a slightly smaller scale. I would love to see some senior citizen low-income housing units included in the plan, because we have people that are getting priced out of this area. And building something nice and fancy and lovely is good, but at market rate. But there are many people who've lived here all their lives who can't do market rate, just can't do it. The other thing I'd really like to see is that historically, people in the neighborhood have had some use of that property. And I would love to see some sort of public recreation area, even if it's small, some sort of public playground. We really need that in Tilson. There's none of it. And the school fulfilled that, even if it was unofficial, for decades. Thank you.
I just want to correct Rita, thanks for your comments, but just a correction on the Tilson Estates. It's correction on the Tilson Estates water. They're not on town water. They have their own private community water system. It's an artesian well. It's got a lot of water. You know, my mother lives there.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I just knew it went awry and it had to be fixed and it was expensive.
No, I don't think that's the case over there. They have plenty of water. But let's just keep.
Yeah,
there,
I just
there may
wanted
be there may be comments that people make that the board may know different or may know. So we have to be careful not to try to keep correcting everything.
Oh no, but that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, typically during public hearings we don't do that. We just let people have to say what they have to say, and then later on.
Rosendale. I live on Toll Oaks Drive, and my neighbors received a letter, but I never received any letter, and I was wondering why.
I'm not sure, it usually, there's a system where they look at every property over a certain, how far away are you from the site?
Well, my next door neighbor got a letter.
I think it's, I wanna say it's 500 feet.
I think Rita, she said she's on Tilson Road.
Well, that doesn't mean she got a letter.
I
don't
didn't
know.
get a letter.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, there's people here that just know about it because it was advertised in the newspaper.
Okay.
But I think the rule is it's 500 feet.
It depends on the distance that you are from the actual
So then I may
site.
have
So
just
the
been- I
neighbor's
may have
just a
been
little
over
bit
the
closer.
It
line.
might have been, and, we can look into that to see.
I'd appreciate that,
Yeah.
because if I,
Would you check into that, Mandy?
Yeah,
So just give Mandy your name and address and she can look into it.
Okay.
We have a system that, it's planned out, because we do this all the time for planning board projects. You have to have a certain distance and they do send out letters to everybody within a certain distance, so, she'll double check that.
okay, thank you.
But did you want to speak?
No, just to say that I agree with everything that's been said, it certainly will change, the reason I moved there is for the peace and quiet, and not having lighting, I like that so I can see the stars. It's gonna change in every way that's been mentioned. I use that area for walking and biking, and I won't be able to do that any longer.
Who's next, Mandy?
Kathleen Wyachek.
Hello, my name is Kathy Wyachek, and I live on Gristmill Road. So, this is really pretty, but it's not accurate. There's not that much frontage there. So I would really like to talk about, especially the water. The water is gonna be, and I just wanna say that unfortunately I have like a lot of questions, but then you said that we can't have them answered this evening. So I guess we can just put our questions out there. So I'm wondering if you could discuss or answer some of the implications of tapping into the water table, keeping in mind that homeowners have wells ranging from maybe 240, and what is that gonna look like? 240 feet is not very deep. I wonder also if we can address and find out some of the implications that it's gonna have on the physical Gristmill Road, such as the traffic, the neighborhood quality, walkers, joggers, bicyclists, children, lighting. So what would this project look like with the physical Gristmill Road being changed? Would it have streetlights? Would it have sidewalks? Would it be widened? Would there be a yellow line and some white lines? I mean, what is that gonna look like with so many more cars and so many more people? I mean, we need to know, we need to know what would that look like. So it's nice that you said that you have a historical consultant. That would be nice for the quality of the neighborhood. The traffic consultant, that would be nice to know, but I guess we don't have those answers tonight. So that makes me think that Barbara said she shook hands with someone, talking about 30 apartments. So, I feel like we need to know these things, and we need to be able to trust if we're shaking hands on 30, that it doesn't turn into 44 or 48. So here's, then you mentioned that the building inspector wants to have his hours reduced. So if the building inspector is gonna have his hours reduced as of January 16, what will that look like? Who's gonna be inspecting? Who's gonna keep track? The building inspector, if he's reducing his hours, who's gonna be inspecting this project? So, there are a lot of questions, and I just, I'm sorry that there are no answers tonight. So I hope that, we get some answers in the future. Thank you.
Carol Hargrove.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carol Hargrove, and I bought Jimmy Rose property, and I own all the property next behind the school. I honestly have no... I have lived in Rosendale since 1960. I have attended Tilson School to the 5th grade. I remember Tilson School when it was alive, full of kids. I remember school buses going down Gristmill Road. I remember teachers, parents, everybody else parked in that parking lot. I don't see where having residents here is going to increase any more traffic than there was in 1965, 66 through, I think, when did Tilson School close in the 80s? Do I have a concern about water? Yeah, I do, but I think it's all going to work out. What are we going to do? At least there's a plan, there's a footprint. Tilson School has been dormant, and it was always such a happy place as a child and as I grew up in this town, what Tilson School was all about. I think these apartments will do justice for the town of Rosendale. Look at Main Street. Main Street 20 years ago was dead. Main Street is becoming alive and starting to prosper again. And I think having residents in this building will bring income and money to this town. You know, I have 17 acres behind this school. I understand they're sitting right on my property. And you know what? They didn't go behind my back. They talked to me about it. All right? They asked me, Carol, you know, we're going to be right in here. Did you have any problem? No, I don't have a problem. I welcome them to our neighborhood, and I'm sorry, I guess I'm one of the very few. But I really do welcome them because if you remember Park Crest, everybody toward Park Crest, and we have many seniors in that apartment complex now, and I think there's a waiting list because so many people need housing in this area. And I honestly think we're going to see a lot of people come up from the city, use bus system, not see the impact of as many vehicles as we think there might be. I'm the Deputy Director of both County Area Transit, and I think we'll be able to service this from 32, and a lot of people will walk. Is there sidewalks? No. But my daughter-in-law is in that house, and she walks down to the bus stop every day, and there's never a problem. So I do welcome this, and the few concerns I have, I will, you know, attend the meetings to see about the water and the sewer, but I do welcome the project to this town.
Lance Colt. Lance Colt, sorry.
Lance Colts, Hardenberg Avenue. I'm pretty distant from all the rest of the speakers so far, but I do have the same type of concerns. We've had to redo a well. We still have a few neighbors that have points. Their point is it's a shallow well, about 30 to 40 feet. All these things have been threatened recently. Maybe it's the drought, global warming. We're still concerned about to make sure that it's addressed. Sewage has the same impact on wetlands as any kind of water, except it's organic. It makes things grow. If you get too much of it, it'll kill it. So you have to watch. These are all, these things are usually addressed. The one thing I didn't hear anything mentioned today is about fire protection. You've got X number of people coming into an area which, especially with the type of building, you may require some specialized fire equipment. Who pays for that? Tilson residents to assess the value for the Tilson Fire Department. Same thing, we have first responders. Well, the first responders may end up with more calls. Doesn't matter whether it's 100 or 200 people. X number of people that it increases by has to be addressed at some point. Fire protection is one, just regular police. You know, we don't see them there too often, thank goodness. There's not that kind of problem, but you put that many people into one spot, you're going to have altercations, you're going to have some types of problems which may require police and fire and EMS. So think about all those things. I mean, it seems like we're moving forward pretty nicely. They've got a lot of things to address yet, but it looks like it can be answered. And I had a real hard act to follow. Everybody seemed to get all that stuff ahead of me. Anyway.
Lisa Drakowski. Is that my cord?
Hi, my name is Lisa Drakowski, and back in June of 2013, I took a walk. I just happened to be out and saw the school district showing the school. To someone I wasn't too concerned, well, I was a little concerned about whether it would fit the neighborhood. So, much to my knowledge, about 2 weeks later, the school okayed the sale to one Chinese Moscovitz. Well, with that, you know, I worked very hard for weeks I was told I had 2 weeks to try to stop the sale or do something to stop the sale. The school did throw out the bids. They rebid it. In the meantime, we came across Stacy and George Ficaris, who came and offered to put the bid in. Thank God they were the top bidder, because the second bidder was Chinese Moscovitz. And I just hope that we can work together, because, you know, I hate to think that that could have happened to our community, and you think that there was water problems then, we would have really had some serious water problems, because they come in, they take over, and I really hope that we can all work together and work out our issues and work with George and Stacy to get this going, because I didn't sleep at night thinking what could have happened. And I don't know if everyone was aware, but me and other people worked very hard to stop that. So I hope that you can come together and work together, because I think, you know, I know it's a big change for our Tilson area. I know the school has been sitting there, and we got used to the quietness of the dilapidated building, but life has changed, and we need to come together and work together. Thank you.
Thank you.